Hey everybody, welcome to the Fish Tank. My name's BadAsFish80 and today we're going to be talking about patch notes for Minion Masters. This is going to be patch number 1.24. Now normally they drop the patch notes just before the servers are going to come back online, but today they've dropped the patch notes the day before, so we've got a little bit of a lead-in. So all I want to do in this quick video here is just go through the patch notes, have a look at the changes and discuss them briefly. Okay, so let's dive straight in here. So you know, version 1.24, as we've seen previously, there's going to be a couple of new cards, Scrapyard and Razor Squadron. If you haven't seen what these cards are about, I shall put a link to the video that I made, and you can see that. Basically, the Scrapyard is a building that produces units, Outlander units, and the Razor Squadron are flying units. And as I said, we do have a video about those, so if you want to find out more about those cards, check that video out. But let's have a look at the card balance. That's the important thing that we generally want to see. And the first thing we see is Apep. Apep, a very strong master. Apep has been nerfed. How has it been nerfed? Well, the Shield Totem, Apep's perk 2, that prevents face damage from happening, the reduction in the duration has occurred. It's gone from 10 seconds down to 7 seconds. On the other hand, the health of the totem has been increased. So it's not going to shield you for so long, but the health of the totem is more so that it can't be removed quite so easily with certain spells. Developer comment, this makes the totem a little more resistant to certain spells while reducing its potential to negate damage from entire pushes. So that's a nerf to Apep, and I think everybody's been happy to see this, that I've discussed it with. Is it enough? Let's find out. We will see how the game plays tomorrow and see how the new shield totem changes. Okay, we've got another master change. This time it's with Mordor. Now the activation time for the tombstone, so that's the time it takes to charge up. So you place it, it was 8 seconds, now it's up to 9 seconds. So it's going to take 9 seconds before it's active. And again, that's the same thing if it gets stunned. It's going to take an extra second now. So that's a nerf for Mordor. Again, the developer comment, Mordor is currently performing a little too well in top ranks. We're looking into other solutions at the moment, but this should bring him more in line for now. So this will be in those situations where you just about get a res, or your opponent just about gets a res before the tombstone dies. This will be a nerf that will prevent that happening quite so often. And now there's some changes to Mythics in the game. Now, Mythics was something that didn't originally exist, then they were introduced, and there's been a little bit of confusion about exactly what being Mythic entails. So here's some changes. All masters are now considered Mythic. So that's going to affect things like Setsu when she's in the field. She's going to be considered Mythic. Rekt as well, he's going to be considered Mythic. And the developers have commented here saying Mythic rules have been a little messy. Some not even listed, like the fact you cannot push Mythic units with knockback or vortex. This change goes into a larger effort to make the rules more clear and consistent. Okay, so they're going to make the rules regarding Mythics more clear, and they've added some rules to specific cards. So here we've got the following cards can no longer affect Mythic minions, including, as we mentioned, Master Mythic minions. So that's going to be Netherstep, Gorek Sacrifice, Once Bidden, and Spawn of Fury. What are we talking about when we're talking about Mythic units? Well, we're talking about Yahoo, Mardred, Nirvir the Fallen. We're talking about the Brutus and the Terror Brooders as well. And if you are aware, when you use the Lash of Armoon and that brings down the Spirit of Armoon, that Spirit of Armoon is seen and treated as a Mythic unit. And you can tell that because it can't be moved around with knockback or vortex. And there was a little cheeky strat going around where you could bring down the Spirit of the Spirit of Armoon, and then you could split it with the Spawn of Fury, and it would give you a real Armoon. So that's something that can no longer happen because they're going to be treated as Mythics. And now there's a little change here with Once Bidden. Now targets the minion closest to the center instead of a random minion within the area. So that means it's going to be easier if your units are close together, it's going to be easier to select the once bitten target that you wish to be selected. Okay, so that's some changes with the Mythics, and I think that's going to make things a lot more straightforward in the future. Spawn of Fury not being able to be used on Mythics, that's quite a big one. As you know, with Mythics, the restriction of a Mythic is you can only have one Mythic of a type out, where you were able to bend that rule by using Spawn of Fury to split them, whereas now you're not going to be able to do that. You won't be able to Spawn a Fury, your Dragon, your Nirvir, and get 2 of them, for example. Okay, now Arcane Bolt is a spell we've seen around a lot since it got buffed. It's now receiving a nerf. Now the kill threshold is reduced from 450 to 400 health points. So that means if a unit has 400 or more, then it will be stunned instead of destroyed. So the developers here have said the Arcane Bolt is a bit too efficient at getting quick kills on semi-high health targets such as Cleaver and Blue Golem. This should make such kills a bit harder. Now, an interesting thing to discuss with this is the change of the threshold means that there's some units that would previously have been completely destroyed by the Arcane Bolt that will no longer be destroyed by the Arcane Bolt, and they are mostly monkeys. In fact, they are entirely monkeys. We've got the Battle She-Howl, the Tranquil She-Howl, Windwalker She-Howl, the She-Howls you get from the Jadespark Watchers, and Shen Stormstrike. They will now all survive the Arcane Bolt, unless, of course, they've had their health reduced by something else. So that means, are we going to see more monkeys, or are we going to see less Arcane Bolt? Again, that's something we'll find out, but as mentioned previously, Arcane Bolt has been around a lot. Everyone seems to be playing it. This could bring it back in line, because it can't quite trade so efficiently anymore. Now, here's an interesting one. A change to the Ghost. Now, the Ghost, as you probably know, is a unit that can possess your opponent's unit, also cursing it in the meantime. Possessing means that it would now belong to you. But they've changed how that's going to work. So one of the things the Ghost did is if the Ghost got to the enemy's face and attacked the Master Tower, it would stun the base. Now, that base stun has been increased from 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Doesn't happen very often, but now you're going to have to react to it, because you do not want to be having your Master stun for 10 seconds in specific situations. If they're trying to defend a big push, that 10 seconds without any Master assistance could be devastating. And we've already spoken about changes to Mythic units. The Ghost is going to interact with Mythic units differently now. You can no longer Ghost a Mythic unit, as in you can no longer possess a Mythic unit. If you play a Ghost on a Mythic unit, instead of possessing it, it will stun it for 10 seconds. So again, the Mythic cards, as we discussed previously, Yahoon, Mardred, Nirvir the Fallen, Brutus and Terror Brutus from Ravager, the Ghost will not be able to take those over. It will stun them for 10 seconds instead. So here the devs have said, to make up for not being able to possess Mythic minions anymore, we've given the stun duration a bump. So it's still a fairly significant effect to use against Mythic creatures. A 10-second stun is not to be laughed at. If you've got some good DPS going on, you can shred through something in 10 seconds. So that'll be interesting to see how people adapt to that change, whether the Ghost is going to be seen to be played more often. Now, here we have some changes to the Snake Druid. We've seen some changes to the Snake Druid over time. Here's one where the attack delay is being reduced. So the attack delay is the time it takes for it to do its first attack. So its attack delay is going down from 1.4 seconds to 1 second. That means it can attack slightly quicker. It can get into the fight slightly quicker. So that's a buff. Root duration is getting a nerf from 6 to 5, but it's the attack delay that's the important change. So if you're throwing it down to try to grab hold of a Cleaver or a Rammer, for example, that's going to really help in that situation. Also, with the Snake Druid fighting against ranged units that it outranged, this is going to help it lock down that opposing unit before it gets into the range that the opposing unit can kill it. So, for example, Snake Druid against Succubus, the Snake Druid outranges it as long as it can lock the Succubus down before the Succubus gets too close. This could be a nice Snake Druid buff. Right, next we're going to look at the Akinlaps Gong of Pestilence. Now, mana cost going up from 6 to 7. We've seen some changes with Akinlap. They're trying to find the best place for it. So the mana cost going up from 6 to 7 is a simple nerf. But the flip side of that coin is the Ring the Gong ability card that you get with it. Remember, it's not a spell, it's an ability card. The cost of that is being reduced from 1 mana to 0 mana. But it's going to increase in cost by 1 on each use. Now, this is an attempt, say, the devs to nerf the minion a little whilst also making the gong a slightly bigger part of the design. So along those lines, a lot of the times you do not ring Akinlaps Gong currently, because for the 1 mana, there's very few occasions where it's going to help. Sometimes if you've got a lot of poison, if you've got enough poison built up on an enemy unit to kill it, you ring the gong and you kill it quickly and save yourself some damage on your unit, but often it's just not worth that mana. So what's going to happen now? The patch notes here say the rise in the cost for the first 3 uses of the gong equal to the same cost as before. The maths doesn't quite check out. It's going to be equal to the first 2 gongs. So previously it would cost 6, and then you would ring the gong once, so that's 7. Ring the gong twice, that's 8. Whereas now it's going to start at 7, you get 1 free gong, that's still 7, and then the next gong, that makes it up to 8. So that's it's going to be equal to 2 gongs of the previous patch. So what they've said here again, however, the initial investment is bigger, nerfing cases where you wouldn't use the gong at all. Now, Zealots of the Burning Fist and Shield Captain of Air, their damage has been buffed from 100 to 120. So the devs here have said both of Air and Zealots could use a little more oomph. So that's a nice buff to them. And the interesting part of that is when you're thinking about how many hits a unit takes to kill other units, if the damage is increased enough, then it can reduce the number of hits it takes. So, for example, we did the maths. Big shout out to Death Shoot Waniani for helping me digest these patch notes. We figured out that these guys will kill a Whirly Scrat in 3 hits instead of 4. And they'll also kill the monkeys in 4 hits instead of 5. So this increase in damage, reducing the number of hits overall that some things take to be removed, can certainly help these units trade a lot more mana efficiently in those situations. Now we've got the Brothers of Light and Caliph. Their HP has been dropped from 600 to 550. Devs have commented that the Brothers of Light are just a bit too oppressive right now. They've also mentioned they will look into a buff for Caliph in the future to see, based on how hard this change hits him. Now remember that this is a 50 HP drop, but you get 2 brothers, so that's 100 HP less you get overall for your 10 mana investment. So that's quite a big nerf to the Brothers of Light here. Okay, here we've got a master change. Rappo, of course, got his auto attack decimated previously, but it's now being improved. The minigun warm-up now has been reduced from 3 to 2 seconds, so hopefully that'll allow him to defend himself a lot better than he was previously. And the second point here is in reference to 2v2. Remember, the previous changes were your teammate also gets scrats from their minions. But this is a nerf because only you get the armoured scrats. So if you use the more expensive minions, you'll get armoured scrats. Your teammate will not. And again, the devs comment, our last change did what we intended to do, make him weaker in 1v1 and stronger in 2v2. Unfortunately, it was a little too efficient. This should hopefully tilt him back into a more balanced position. We've got some improvements. So the Red Golem rework is a graphical rework. Remember, the Blue Golem got a graphics rework a long time ago. The Red Golem is going to catch up. Unfortunately, I tried to get hold of some images of that, but we don't have anything right now. So check out the game tomorrow, and you'll be able to see what the new Red Golem looks like. So that's all the balance changes. We just got some bug changes, bug fixes to go through. There's been a few issues with Wrecked. Breaking units, getting multiple versions of Rex, things like that. So that's all been addressed, so that's great. There's been a problem for a long time with TAS. If you get it from a future present or future past, or from Apep's first perk, although the building is reduced the first time you've got it, if you use the Hellbound's ability that comes with it, and then the next time the TAS comes around, it's back up to full cost. So the fix for that is to simply remove the TAS and Akinlaps from the random pool. So you can no longer get those cards randomly. There's been an issue. There was a bug with the Rabid Prowler. You need to sacrifice 2 Slitherbounds to give the Rabid Prowler Berserker Rage. It should only have 1 cool Slitherbound on itself. It was previously bugged to have 2 cool Slitherbounds. So that's been fixed now. Just a typo fix with Nivira's Breath. We've got some more rec changes there. Pincer of Dread. Remember, they changed that to go through shield. They've now listed that as a true damage effect, which just makes it a little more easy to understand once you understand how true damage works. And I think I'll make a video on true damage in a little bit, just to clarify how that works and what that works on. This is a good one to see. Milloween, the arcane missiles from her perk 2, there's been an issue with the targeting of those. That's something I noticed, as well as a lot of other people. We were missing a lot of shots when we really shouldn't have been. So that's been addressed and fixed. Graphical bug with Valorians fixed. Here's an interesting one. There was a bug with Avea, where if she got hit by a spell, she could shield her legionnaires or other units around her from that same spell, but that's now been fixed. The notes here refer specifically to the fireball, but having spoken to the developers, that's been fixed for all spells. So if a spell hits her, it should also hit everything around her before her being able to shield them. And finally, banned users now get a banned message when they log in. So currently, if you get banned and you try and log in, it tells you that the servers are offline or something like that, which is a little confusing. Whereas now, hopefully not many people see this, but if you do fall into this situation, you will get some feedback telling you exactly what's going on. So that's the end of patch notes 1.24. The patch is dropping tomorrow, which is going to be the 6th of May. So we'll see what see how the patch notes play out. So we're going to have some new cards. We've seen the balance changes. We've got some bug fixes. Everybody that I've spoken to regarding these changes have been happy with the changes. Sounds like the devs are really listening to the problems and the balance issues that we're experiencing in the game, and they're doing their best working with us and working with their own team to come up with solutions to fix them. So that's really great to hear. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for your time. We are trying to get up to 4,000 watch hours here on the channel, so then we can monetize our content, which will be awesome. So thanks so much for helping out with that. If you want to check out any of the other videos, that really helps as well. Of course, hit that subscribe button if you want to find out and be updated on all sorts of new content coming to Minion Masters. Just a couple of final things. I am sponsored by Sneak Energy. You can use code FISH at sneakenergy.com should you wish to support the stream. And also Secret Lab. Check out their chairs. Again, we'll put all the information in the description of the video. But thanks so much for your time. If you've got any questions, any feedback, anything like that, drop them in the comments. This is the Fish Tank. I've been Bad as Fish 80, and I'll see you guys next time.